Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Hammer Time Podcast. Today, we have a very special guest, two, actually. My new co-host and great friend, Caleb Fanoff, and Dino Radja, Basketball Hall of Famer, International Basketball Pioneer, the GOAT. I'm saying it right now. He's my GOAT. After today's interview, he's my GOAT. Dino Radja's my GOAT. Yep. He was amazing. I'm ready to just run through this wall behind me.
Absolutely.
He got me fired up. He killed that. So just some background on Dino. He played in the Euroleague. He's played Croatia national team. He played alongside of guys like Vlade Divac, Toni Kukoc, legendary guys like Dražen Petrovic.
Outscored Michael Jordan in the 1992 Olympic gold medal game.
Go. We talked about a lot of stuff. Talked about his career with the Celtics, forever a Celtic, GOAT. The contribution to European players and how he and his few other legendary European friends paved the way for your favorite players like Luka Doncic, Kristaps Porzingis, Dirk Nowitzki, Peja Stojakovic, his relationship with Larry Bird. Caleb and him, I think, are best friends now. A couple Pats guys.
Wrote it up.
Caleb was going to show off a jersey or two, and Dino started pulling out his Bill Belichick signed ball and his Lombardi trophies. So shout out Dino. That was a great interview. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this awesome interview. Love everybody.
At one forward position, Dino Radja, Croatia, 6'11", 226 seconds.
I would now like to welcome on Basketball Hall of Famer and International Basketball Pioneer, Dino Radja. Dino, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Great to have you on, Dino. I have my co-host Caleb here with me. You're both guys, big Pats guys, former Celtics player, Celtics fan. It's a match made in heaven here. You guys are gonna be best friends.
That's right.
Oh, yes. Okay. Hold on. Let me show you my
secret. There it is.
My secret
That's awesome.
jersey.
Awesome.
Lucky one.
So, Caleb, do you want to start with some Patriots questions? We already started before the recording. Let's talk football with our Basketball Hall of Famer here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've heard stories about Bill, from Julian Edelman interviews with Jules. I know you guys are friends. Do you have a funny story that has Bill? Is he actually funny?
He is very professional. I was lucky to be able to join them for a practice and to observe how they're working, and I was really impressed. I mean, you realize in one day why they are who they are.
Oh yeah.
Did you get any passes up?
It's not a fluke. They are on the top for 20 years.
Patriots way.
Yeah.
That's right. That's awesome.
Bill's way.
Yeah.
Is Tom Brady your GOAT, Dino?
Definitely.
No one else. So I guess we could go over to your basketball career a little bit. And so I'm always curious I think we might have lost your video here. Are you seeing him, Caleb?
Yeah, I'm seeing him.
Okay, then it's just on mine. That's no problem. So I'm always curious, as a young man, a lot of the times the European or just international players start at a very young age. When did you start playing basketball professionally?
I started basketball when I was like 14 and a half, pretty late.
Late?
Yeah. That was not professionally. That was just
okay.
Started my first, steps on the basketball court was on that age. Before that, I did different other things, swimming, rowing, handball, whatever. Kids, trying to find themselves. And then over one summer, I grew up a lot, and my mother told me, "Why don't you try basketball?" I went there. I found a few good friends, and just good.
That's great.
When did Did you have a time where, like, a lot of the times you'll see kids will leave school for the summer, they'll come back a couple inches taller. When did you come back to school at 6'11"? When was your big growth spurt?
That summer, I grew up a lot, like 12 centimeters. It's about, I don't know, like 4 inches, something like that.
Maybe pretty significant.
Yeah, and you know, I start going on a practice. I was a quick learner. I definitely had some, you know, some talent in myself, and after that, everything was hard work.
So
it's always a grind.
Yeah. Speaking of transitioning from, you know, other sports to basketball, what was the hardest part about transitioning from playing in Italy with Virtus Roma to playing for the Celtics to playing American basketball?
You know, what I did was, you know, going step by step. That's what many kids today, they are overwhelmed. I understand that, but they are doing many wrong steps, hurrying into the NBA because they are not ready. I went from, you know, being one of the best players in my team in ex-Yugoslavia, then I went to Italy, and then I had my problems over there because there was only 2 foreigners back then, and you have to make your way over there. Then after, you know, 2-3 years, when I grew up as a person also, not only as a player, then I went to NBA and I was ready. It took me a very short time to you know, gain confidence in coaching stuff, to get some significant minutes. And many players today, they are hurrying from you know, young age, 19 years old, 20 years old, go to NBA, and they are not ready. They are not mentally ready, not just physically. NBA is difficult.
So when you say like 19 and 20, and I immediately think of someone who just turned 20 last year and who's another international star, Luka Doncic. How does it make you feel being able to see these guys like Peja Stojakovic, Luka Doncic, Dirk Nowitzki, these guys that really have you, Tony, Drazen, and Vladi to thank for their success in the league? Because before you guys, it was nobody truly trusted international players, and you guys just made international players what they are today, like the stars of the league.
First, they have to thank themselves because they work hard, they earn everything they get. But definitely, it's easier for them because Luka Doncic, when he came to Dallas, they gave him the keys of the city, and they gave me bags to carry when I came to Boston.
Speaking of Luka, speaking of all these current players, is there a player in the league today that reminds you a little bit of yourself back in the day?
You know what? I think what was my biggest you know, strength was playing with the back to the basket. Today, that kind of game is gone. Today, everybody's just shooting. And you know, I think NBA became a little bit like you know, all-star game. Defense is punished. You can't touch the guy. You know, back then, you know, I played against certain Bill Laimbeer and Rick Mahorn and these guys. You know, Mason Oakley, and it was you know, no fun. Getting beaten by these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, physically beaten, not just in game. But
so, okay, go ahead.
It's a great school, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, going off of that is, it's very true. You see it now. NBA's played so much like an all-star game, high-scoring games. The NBA video game, you are actually one of the best centers in the game. And how do you feel they gave you a 79 three-point shot? Do you think that's fair?
I was never shooting because my confidence was, you know, like one step closer, and I was probably one of the first, definitely in Europe, one of the first big guys who is 6'11", who could run like a guard and who could shoot from outside. Before me, you know, typical centers in Europe were 7-footers with 300 pounds and very low mobility and good only in the paint. And me and Divac were first big guys who could really run and shoot from outside.
So you were drafted 40th overall in '89. When you entered the league, when you got drafted by the Celtics, did you go in with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder for all those teams that passed on you?
You know what? When they approached me in 1988, it was so much honor for me because, like it or not, the Celtics are probably the most famous franchise in the world. And when they approached me and asked me, do I want to come? I was like, if you ask somebody today, do you want to go on a trip on Mars? It was no internet, no YouTube. You couldn't see anything. Very few, highlights sometimes on TV, on some videotapes. Nobody had the video players in my country back then, and it was, very much of the myth, the whole NBA. So when they asked me, am I interested? I said, of course, but I want to come play for you. I don't want to go somewhere else.
Right.
And then, they say, we have certain, system. We have the draft. You cannot come to us unless we draft you. And then I start telling other teams that I'm not interested in coming to NBA. Because, back then, no Europeans were in NBA. So I start telling them, no, I don't want to go. I'm fine here. And that's why they took me in the second round. And that's why many teams pass on me.
That's awesome. That's a great story.
So I was happy.
That's awesome.
So you mentioned the internet and YouTube. Do you think with the way the internet is now, because people discovered Luka Doncic, at least over in the States, there was Luka Doncic highlights when he was like 14, 15 years old. Do you think if you in your time were able to have the internet, do you think you'd be over in the NBA sooner than you were, or do you think you still would have taken the same process and path?
I would probably be there sooner.
Yeah.
Not probably, definitely.
Yeah.
Because Luka, he did his step-by-step system, and he was good in the junior team. Then he started playing for the Real Madrid, and then he was good over there, and then he won the championship. Then he won Euroleague. And he was young.
So I understand you played for in the '92 Olympics. You won silver, and you played the '92 Dream Team.
Yeah.
You outscored Michael Jordan in that game. Do you think if you guys were to go at it again, you would outscore him again? Because I think so.
I agree.
He is the GOAT, and definitely I don't see anybody else. Maybe it's unfair to Will Chamberlain and Bill Russell, because I never saw these guys. They won even more than Michael, but his mindset is amazing. His mindset reminds me of my mindset. He's a player. He was a player on a different level, of course, but that mindset. My wife watched the movie, and my wife, she doesn't know basketball. She's not. She never played basketball, and she tell me watching the movie. She said, like, unbelievable. The same sentences. You are saying the same sentence like him. Like, I can't believe this. And I said, this is the way to succeed. You have to, you have to lead in everything. You have to be first in everything. You have to be willing to sacrifice yourself, and then you can ask others to sacrifice. Because one sentence that Jordan said, because people are bitching about him, yelling at players, and he said, yes, I was hard on them, but I never ask them to do anything that I didn't do first.
Yeah.
And that's what a leader does.
Yes, sir.
So, do you have a EuroLeague GOAT? Is there someone who maybe in the States they don't know as well because they're strictly in the EuroLeague? Do you have like your Michael Jordan of the EuroLeague, or maybe that's you? You can say that.
You mean the whole time, or?
Yeah, all time.
You know, it's always hard for me to speak about myself. I like other people talk about myself, but
Sure.
if I tell you the name of Dražen Petrovic and Sabonis, you know them, and
Of course.
those guys I hugely respect, hugely, especially Dražen because I play with him.
Yeah.
And I know he was kind of Michael Jordan mind. He was the guy who pushed you in the practice, who asked you to do an extra step, and he was one that you know I learned a lot from.
Yeah, Larry Bird had nothing but amazing, incredible compliments to him, as well as Danny Ainge after that exhibition game they played against him. You could tell that they knew he was the real deal. Drazen.
You know, back then, I think even they were surprised because you know, communication between America and Europe was very poor. And when we start having these, you know, McDonald's Open first games that we play against NBA teams, you know, all of a sudden you are showing them you can play, and then they were surprised. And then I told you when the Jen Walk, back then GM of the Celtics, came in '88 on the qualifications for the Olympics to see another guy. He saw me and he was like, "Who's this guy?" And asked Stojko Brankovic, the 7-footer who played in Boston before me. And he asked me, "Who's this guy? And can you introduce me to him?" So that's how it happened on the court after the game. "Hello, I'm GM of the Celtics." Like, you cannot imagine how much honored I was and how much, you know, proud I am of playing for the Celtics. And it's amazing organization. Even today, like 23 years after I left, I still have contact with them. And anytime, you know, I need a ticket or something, they are great, really.
You're forever a Celtic, Dino.
That's what they say. Once Celtic, always Celtic.
Yes, sir. So you just said a little bit about Larry Bird, and as a Celtics fan, that's a legend. I know Cade, that's his favorite player of all time. How was your relationship with Larry?
He is a great guy. I was really lucky to be able to work out with him when I came in '89. And, you know, even in '93 when he was retired, he used to come on our practices, and, you know, sometimes even he worked out with us and, you know, giving you advices. And later on, when I went back to Europe, he tried to get me to play for the Pacers. It didn't happen, but, you know, and also, you know, I respect Larry so much that I think, if you ask me, he's number 2 all time. And
I like that. I definitely like that.
Really, that he's, you know, he's grinding and his basketball intelligence is off the charts.
You said you were talking about how like the distance and somehow the States players didn't really know the European players that well. So you for your years in the NBA, were you ever homesick? Did that wear off, or was that the whole time?
No. Basically, no. You know, when I went to the Celtics, I was on a mission. You know, I came. I had a possibility to show myself in the best basketball league in the world. So I told myself, okay, you go there, and you do everything possible to see how high you can fly. Sure. And don't do something that you regret later on, and you say like, if I didn't go out that night, maybe I could have played better that game. Maybe so. If you give me $1 million today and tell me, okay, let me know what's the best bar in Boston, I have no idea. Disco club, I have no idea. I never been out. Never in 4 years. It may sound unbelievable, but I was 100% dedicated to see how high I can go, and I didn't want to do anything that can ruin even one day. Not figure out more.
So go ahead, Caleb.
I'm staying in Boston this summer. I'm working with my uncle, and it's such a beautiful city. I live in North Carolina, but when I'm up here, it's just breathtaking. Do you ever think back and like regret maybe not going out a little bit more, or you just no regrets?
No regrets, absolutely no regrets. I didn't go out until I finished with NBA. Even when I was in Rome, I didn't go out because I was on a mission. I wanted to succeed. There's no money importance or anything. I just wanted to succeed, and that was my goal. And when I reach all my goals, then I relax a little bit, because later on your abilities, your physical abilities, they go a little down, but then your experience kick up, so you make up the difference, and you play more with your head than with your legs.
That's right.
I really didn't go out ever.
You definitely succeeded and checked a lot of boxes on your just your goals. I would assume these were your goals. You're one of FIBA's 50 greatest players of all time. You're a 2-time gold medalist at the European Champions Cup. Is there anything, and there's so many more, is there anything that you hold closer to your heart, an accolade or a trophy or a championship or a game?
I mean, Olympics '92 were something special, definitely. 1.5 billion people watched that game. Michael Jordan, you play Michael Jordan first time in your life, and it was, I don't know how much you know the history, but Tony, Divac, myself, we were why Dream Team was assembled, because in the 1987 in Junior World Championship we beat as Yugoslavian team, we beat Americans with Gary Payton and Larry Johnson.
Yeah.
And then in 1988 they lost David Robinson. They lost the semifinals in the Olympics in Seoul, and then 1990 in Goodwill Games in Seattle, we beat that team, and they had Alonzo Mourning, they had Glenn Rice, all these NBA later superstars. Mm-hmm. And then in Argentina the same year also, even that I broke my foot the day before the travel to World Championships. So I was starting power forward in the team, and they still beat them. And then they say, okay, now it's enough. Now we have to bring the big guns.
Yeah.
As I said, big Celtics fan. This year's team, before the cancellation, so fun, so exciting to watch. Do you have any advice for the young stars on the team, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, those kind of guys?
It's very simple. Whenever somebody asks me for advice, I always tell them the same thing. There are three things: work. Problem: if you can't shoot, you go to the gym. If you can't run, go and run. If you are not strong enough, go lift weights. That's going to resolve your problems. No talking, no whining, no crying. Just go to the gym and do it.
No excuses.
The Dino way.
That's the only way.
So when you were talking about playing against the some of the NBA stars before you were in the league, you really, arguably, you played in the prime NBA. Was there ever someone that you'd look forward to facing, like a Hakeem Olajuwon, someone you just loved competing against?
Really, I tell you guys, I really consider myself, blessed, because every day you play against Hakeem, against Magic, against Michael, against Ewing, against all these guys, Karl Malone, Barkley. It was unbelievable times, and I'm really, I feel blessed that I had the opportunity to play against them, day in and day out.
It's just, you can just tell by unanimously, I think your Hall of Fame speech is it's beloved by everybody. It's just so genuine. You could tell even in this interview that you just are so thankful for your opportunity, and you've really took advantage of your opportunity. You checked about all the boxes you could have. So I'd like to congratulate you on your career and your Hall of Fame. I know it's a little late, but never too late.
You know what? I don't know. That's the way I am. I like to be honest. I don't like to cheat anybody. I always had this idea, wherever I go and play, somebody's paying me. And when I leave the city, I want to watch the guy who's paying me in the eyes and say goodbye. I did my best. I never wanted, to look down, to look in the ground and avoid his eyes because I didn't do my best. And that's why I believe people everywhere that I did play love me and appreciate me. And even today, when I'm flying somewhere on some airports, you meet somebody from Athens, from Rome, from Boston. Whenever I land in Boston, there are people welcoming me, and they remember. And you can't cheat people. You just can't, because they feel it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's applicable in everything. That's a great thing to live by. Oh, I have one more question here. So obviously you spent a couple years in the States. What's your favorite American food?
Okay.
If there's one.
Okay, there is. Tony Romo's ribs. But
Specifically Tony's.
Specifically Tony Romo's.
Wow.
Interesting.
Tony Roma's. It's a chain of rib.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought you were talking about the quarterback.
Yeah, I thought you meant Romo. I was like, good ribs, huh?
I don't think he even have a restaurant. There is a chain. I don't know, does it exist anymore? But Tony Roma's was a chain of the restaurants all over the States, and they had the best ribs ever.
Have to find one of those. I'll have to see if you're.
And also, there was a Force bar next to the Boston Garden. They had the best, cheese jumbo dog.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is.
That's a good pick. That's a nice big American food. That really wraps up my questions. Caleb, do you have any more?
I've been wrapped up, yeah.
All right, Dino, if you have anything you'd like to shout out or say anything, we are so thankful to have you on. It's meant a lot to both of us. And I think, at least for me, I'm not going to speak for Caleb, I learned a lot. I think you have one of the best winning and leadership mentalities that can be applied to mowing the lawn to playing in the 92 Olympics. So I think you taught both of us a lot in this interview.
Yes,
I think kids today can learn a lot from this movie, Last Dance, and I think every athlete in the world should watch it and try to be like that, because that's the only mentality that's going to lead you high. But that's something that that thing is unteachable.
Yeah.
You can teach certain things, but the head and mind, you have to find it. You're born with that.
Yeah.
But it's a great story, great, motivation movie to watch.
And I saw on your Instagram, one more thing here. Speaking of movies, you have Radja. Is that the movie that's coming out for you?
It's out. We had a premiere in Croatia here.
Okay.
And we're supposed to go forward with it, but then this virus thing stopped everything, and we didn't reach any agreement with somebody to show it in public. But as soon as situation calms down a little bit, it's going to be out. I think it's also very inspiring and very, very good because you'll see it. You'll see
Yeah.
it. It's interesting.
I can't wait.
Everybody, keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out.
All right, Dino. Thank you so much.
No problem. Anytime.
Go
Bye,
Pats.
Dino.
Okay.
All right, and that was our interview with international legend, United States legend, global legend, my GOAT, Caleb's GOAT, everyone's GOAT, Dino Radja.
Yo,
He's the best. Yeah, I said it in the intro, and I'm going to say it in the outro. I'm ready to run through a wall. Put a wall in front of me, I'm going through it.
Oh, yeah.
Silhouette, Looney Tunes style. Caleb, anything else?
Yeah, just keep an eye out. New movie coming out, Radja. It's going to be great. If he can make me want to, run through a wall in an interview, I'm sure I don't even want to know what he can do in 2 hours. So keep an eye out.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much. We love you.
Love you.